Good afternoon and welcome back to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm your host, Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. We have Consensus 2018, the largest blockchain conference in town at New York City, and we're helping to cover that event. Joining me is David Fragale. He is the co-founder of Atonomi, and we're going to focus on the security of the Internet of Things. Thank you very much, David, for joining us at MarketSite. And let's talk about security. There's obviously a lot of hackers and bad actors with IoT, just like there is with every other area of technology. In the future, do you think there'll be more IoT device interactions, and how do you protect that?
Yeah, so if you look at what Gartner Research puts out, their estimates are that 5 million new devices are jumping on the network today, every day. And with 5 million new connected devices every day, that's rapidly facing a reality of 75 billion devices here in the next decade. And so what that means is there are a number of connections between those devices as there are grains of sand on Earth. And that's just an unfathomable number from a cybersecurity standpoint in terms of protecting. And if you look at the current cyber protection, I mean, we're already having issues with places like Equifax and a handful of these other hacks that we've all known about through Target and a handful of other retail outlets that are responsible for holding data, and they just can't protect it. And so it's a major challenge. And then when you look at the IoT space, an even more monumental challenge there in terms of the growth of the IoT market.
Right.
So that's where at Atonomi we're looking at helping to bring a solution to that problem.
So when you talk about IoT, just for our audience who's not familiar as much with the tech space as you and I might be, is that when you have your Nest temperature control at home, or you're talking to your Echo and you're talking to Alexa all day? That's the cybersecurity that you're looking to protect, those type of devices.
Yeah. So IoT at large, meaning the devices, whether they're your cell phone all the way to sensors that are operating in a smart city environment, maybe controlling the way that the lighting occurs
Right.
in a city environment. So absolutely, when you look at Google Nest or you look at the Apple HomeKit, that's where we're looking at bringing a security layer to that. I mean, when you look right now at Google Nest, for example, Google Nest can't interoperate with a Apple HomeKit device. So those two devices can't talk to each other because they don't trust each other. And that's the current hurdle right now in this space is building trust in that anonymous first environment.
But there is an upside to this because more than over 1 billion people in developing countries, they lack access to electricity, but you can make this happen with the Internet of Things and potentially build these energy grids.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the areas that we're looking to secure, and we're announcing a partnership, we have announced a partnership and we will be announcing the pilot here shortly with a company called Switch.io. Switch is bringing a decentralized peer-to-peer solution to the developing world around microgrids. And what they're going to be doing is incentivizing people to put a solar panel on their home, generate electricity, and instead of sending that electricity to the grid and all around the various other actors that are part of a power distribution network that ends up having a lot of waste and inefficiency, you can sell it directly to your neighbor. And it's a very lightweight, slick solution that Switch has come up with, and we're going to be able to secure the smart meters and the solar panels that are generating data so that all that data has integrity. And that's where we're going to be partnering with them here shortly and helping them with about 100 different smart meters in the developing world.
All right, and to wrap up, so blockchain, I would imagine that helps to validate these devices and help protect cybersecurity.
Absolutely. So when you look at blockchain, it's the perfect solution for cybersecurity, meaning that you can now have a ledger that's immutable that can track a device's history and activity over time. So whether a device behaves positively or negatively, that's all now available on a ledger that the industry recognizes. And by having that, we can now allow for other devices that want to connect with those devices to validate that history in a trusted fashion, and that hasn't been around before.
All right, well, thank you very much for joining us at MarketSite, and thank you for joining me throughout the day. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.